learned over the last couple of weeks that President Biden is fond of calling some people the F word. He has applied that to his predecessor, but he's also applied it in conversations behind the scenes to when Benjamin Netanyahu and the military campaign going on in the Gaza, going so far as to say some of the latest stuff we've been seeing out of Tel Aviv is over the top. So we thought it'd be curious to get a view from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government. Tal Heinrich is a spokesperson for the Israeli Prime Minister, kind enough to join us. What do you think of that? Over the top, Tal?
Well, Neil, good to see you. My pleasure to be joining you today. I'm not sure exactly in what context the president said what he said, but if you're asking me about a matter of proportionality, then the viewers should know that proportionality in armed conflict, according to common sense and according to international law, means doing what it takes to achieve a legitimate military target, a military goal. And I will tell you that Israel's goals in this war, as we have defined them, are very, very justified, which is the elimination of the Hamas terrorist regime. We want to bring all hostages, 136 of them, back home immediately. And we're working to make sure that Gaza will never, ever pose a terror threat to us again. Now, as we're working on doing these things, we're also making sure that we're doing our utmost efforts to minimize the civilian suffering and civilian casualties in Gaza. And our efforts have been unprecedented in the history of modern urban warfare and counterterrorism. It's not just us saying it. It's also the urban warfare head at West Point, for example.
Now, still, the president says what you're doing is over the top. Of course, you got a strong talking to, your government did, from Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State. That's going nowhere. But there's clear friction now between the United States and Israel. I know we're good friends, but this seems to be tested. And you guys are getting testy, and he's getting testy. Where do you think this is going?
Jerusalem and Washington have been in touch on an hourly basis, daily basis for sure, since the outbreak of this war on October 7th. We are very grateful for the support that we have received from the White House and from the American people, if it's moral support or material support. Now, we don't have to agree on every small detail in this war or how we see the road ahead between us and our neighbors. But in the bigger scheme of things, it's really important to say it here. We do see eye to eye. We all want the same things. We want to make sure that the hostages will return home and that Hamas is eliminated, that Gaza is free of Hamas. Now, why do we want that? Because we share the same values, the United States and Israel. And exactly because of that, we are not going to compromise on anything that falls short of a total victory, as my prime minister just said a few days ago, because we know that you, the United States, would not have compromised on anything other than a total victory if Hamas was just across your border.
Have we threatened to withhold aid?
The United States, you mean?
Yes.
Oh,
in any of these conversations, has that issue come up? Has your government threatened? You keep acting like this, you keep going over the top like this, we're going to hold back aid.
Well, we have our channels to communicate with the White House, but you see, we're sure that at the end of the day, Congress will do what it takes to make sure that Israel has the tools to win this war against these brutal terrorists. Because, you know, Neil, and we talked about it before, it's not just Israel against Hamas here. Israel is on the front lines of the civilized world fight against terrorism. The year is 2024. We have to send a message that terrorism is a dead end. All the bad players in our region and outside our region are observing what's happening in Gaza right now and are taking notes. And if Israel does not take out Hamas, and if Israel's hands are tied by the international community, or if we take the pressure for Hamas's actions, then what does it mean? It's just an open invitation for more terrorism worldwide.
All right, I'll keep us posted on all of that. Very good seeing you again under these very trying circumstances, to put it mildly.